supplementary papers. Sorry, the supplementary. I think.
Then you got one. Okay.
Or have I left someone out? No. No, I haven't. Sorry, yeah, supplementary number 3. Actually, where is it? Sorry, which supplementary? Whereabouts is it? Whereabouts?
This one.
Oh, right, sorry. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Christopher Doudney. I'm a registered architect and an urban designer. I'm a fellow of the New Zealand Institute of Architects and a member of the New Zealand Urban Design Forum. My submission requests that the Council retain its profitable and socially necessary assets, cancels wildly unnecessary anchor projects, and accelerates the reuse of existing facilities, for instance, Lancaster Park. In the last half century, Christchurch went down 3 tracks that had major repercussions in the following decades. Firstly, the university was relocated from the city centre to Marlborough in a distant suburb beyond Riccarton. Secondly, the city surrendered urban design to traffic planning priorities, including the closure of city streets such as Victoria Street, which accelerated the demise of the square as the premier public space of the city. High Street and Victoria Street, the 2 historical diagonal imperatives in our grid city, should never be closed. Thirdly, the city failed to balance the development of large suburban shopping malls with parallel redevelopment of the city centre as a living environment. Now, instead of a hopeful new solution that rectifies these mistakes, the disaster of the earthquakes has been followed by the tragedy of the botched rebuild. Based upon a flawed concept with top-down inflexible implementation, almost no account has been taken of the public desires for rational replacement of facilities. Instead, highly unsuitable projects are being foisted onto the central city, creating urban desolation and such huge debt that necessary projects will be deferred indefinitely. Urban design experts, as well as local developers and troubled citizens, all condemn this failed rebuild concept. All is not yet lost. First, cancel the wasteful anchor projects and reinstate badly needed infrastructure. In particular, the $500 million convention centre and the similar costing stadium should be cancelled, and Lancaster Park and the previous convention centre respectively repaired and rebuilt. This saves $1,000 million and also means that important inner streets of the city and lanes, Gloucester Street and Chancery Lane, for example, are not closed, and huge areas of the central city are not blighted. Second, bring the university back into the central city, located on the green frame and stadium areas, now empty. This is not as crazy as it sounds. The space available is large enough, and the influx of 25,000 citizens will rejuvenate the city centre, a stated aim of both City and Sarah, as nothing else could. University, by the way's 20-year plan, anticipates capital expenditure in the coming decade of $1 billion, about 2/3 of the capital worth. If this is spent developing the new inner city campus, sales of the existing campus land as residential plots in an already serviced existing suburb will readily fund the remaining capital development required. An urban campus can be very beautiful. See, for instance, Otago University or Melbourne or Sydney universities for that matter. Thirdly, the above actions will largely resolve the dead centre issue caused by the satellite shopping centres, and the linkages between university, business, industry, not to mention the Polytechnic, will be greatly facilitated by their enhanced proximity. In summary, through the long-term plan, stop the anchor projects now. Instead, implement useful, truly inspirational developments that will enhance the city and keep our assets. Thank you.
Aren't you going to mention the other line?
Well, I'm not sure if you guys can deal with that.
No, but we might like to hear it.
Right, the missing bit is get rid of Sarah and sack the hopeless CCDU.
Tim.
Your point too here with regards to not closing Victoria Street. I've done probably as many, if not more, events over the last 30 years in Cathedral Square, which I don't think has ever achieved what it should have done through design, to the point where the steps in Cathedral Square in front of the cathedral caused so many ankle injuries that they, in an afterthought, put some aluminium handrails which looked like they'd stolen out of a urinal. But the closure of Victoria Street, it's insane, but actually created probably one of the most beautiful spots within the city, and you can see that from the reaction of those wanting to redesign it.
I absolutely take your point.
Just trying to jiggle out, you're
Yes.
saying close one, but I know, I realise this. Yeah.
I believe Victoria Street should never have been closed because I believe it did help in the demise of the square. Taking all the buses out and taking the Victory theatres away did it too. So it was no longer a focal point for the city in its day-to-day business. But closing off streets leading into it, historic streets like Victoria Street, was another blow. High Street and Victoria Street are the two main historical streets that cut across our grid, which was applied after they were there.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your submission. Yeah, I mean, it's just had, I mean, it's very impactful, so thank you very much for taking the trouble. I don't think John Miller's the right.